I want to make a Shirini Zaban. For that, I'm going to use the shortcut by using a puff pastry, and instead of making a sherbet, I'm going to use the honey, and I'm going to mix the honey with a little brew saffron, which I brew it. So I'm going to open my puff pastry. This puff pastry being defrosted. Okay, I put a few spoons of honey right here, and I'm gonna add a little brew saffron in it, and I'm gonna warm this up in a microwave. This is my mixture of the honey and saffron. You could add a drop or two of rose water in it too. And I'm gonna wait this cool down and thicken a little, and then I'm gonna brush it over my dough. I take the dough off of the refrigerator, and my honey saffron mixture, it cooled down. Okay, I'm gonna brush it with this honey and saffron mixture. Some people like to smell the saffron. Some people like to have the touch of the rose water in it. I dropped a few drops of vanilla. Fold it in half, and I'm gonna use the sheet to help me to do that. How about that? And I'm gonna put them in the refrigerator to harden a little. Okay, I take my dough off of the refrigerator, and I'm gonna cut every corner to make it a perfect edge. Round cutter, I make it oval looking. Okay, I'm gonna cut the dough. The dough is frozen, so I need a little help to enforce my cut. Gonna cut in the center too. We don't go all the way to end, we just do like that. You see that? Let me do one more. We don't go all the way to end. Puff pastry is hard to work when it's warm. That's why I'm using with the frozen one, and that's why I need a little help to enforce the cut. This cut, as I mentioned, it should be only a center, and it cut all the layer. It goes all the way down. I'm gonna cut rest of it, and I'm gonna put them on the tray. Okay, after I cut my dough with the cookie cutter and I cut in the center all the way deep in, did not do it all the way to end. I did brush this with that honey mixer. I put them in the refrigerator. I brought them out again, and for a second time I'm gonna put honey mixture on top of it. I would warm up my oven 350 degrees of Fahrenheit, and while my oven get warm up, I'm gonna put back this in a refrigerator, and I put them in a tray with the paper on, and I'm gonna bake it. This type of the pastry, it's better to use a tray which you don't have the edge to make that Shirini Zaban raise evenly. I take it off the refrigerator, I put it on the sheet, and I'm gonna put them right next to each other. Just gonna make my hand a little wet to make this paper stick here. Gonna bottom of the sheet a little wet with water. Goes in the oven 350 degrees of Fahrenheit. I did take it out. I'm gonna brush it one more time with the honey, and I'm gonna put it back in the oven for a few minutes. I put a little distance on it. I go back in a 350 degree oven for a little longer because this pastry, it's supposed to get really reddish golden. I baked it for 37 minutes. I take it out and I put the honey on it, and I put it back for about 5 minutes, and it is ready, and that's how it's supposed to be. You hear that? I'm gonna put the last brush of honey. Remember, the puff pastry doesn't have any sugar. So the honey, it's the only source of sweetening of this pastry. My pastry still is hot. I'm gonna leave it here to cool down, and while it's hot, I put another layer of honey in it, and then I did crush some pistachio. It is very nice to put pistachio in it. I'm gonna decorate it with pistachio. You could do with the almond or coconut. Okay, this is my Shirini Zaban. Gonna leave it here to cool down. Look at that, it's so hot. I don't want to break it. Look at that. Do you hear that? It's crunchy. It's a traditional Persian cookie and normally served with the hot tea. My Shirini is ready. We call that Shirini Zaban. So cute. Let's try it. Let's try one. Look at that. You see that? Do you hear that?